First, you're going back to morality. I'm going to ask Bobby this question. There's this hot topic and the statement, an old statement, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Today, there's a lot of gay things happening around, and it seemed to be welcomed. So, Bobby, the Bible talks about love. But why are Christians upright about gay marriage? What's wrong?
Well, firstly, I think Jesus has asked us to love our neighbor and God as well. I think most of us must be familiar with that two things that Jesus has asked us to do. And despite who our neighbor is, maybe we don't like our neighbor, maybe our neighbor is a little weird, or maybe our neighbor is a little too loving, maybe the neighbor has a big heart. Despite who our neighbor is, we have been asked to love our neighbor. So I think that's the first thing that we have to remember as Christians, to love. Even if we disagree with what my neighbor is like, my first response is to love him. And I think Jesus has been very strong on that. And I think within the context of love, it is important for us to understand, again, right and wrong. For instance, if I love my wife a lot, and if I'm looking at all the girls around here and checking them out, and I think it's right, and if my wife gets angry with me, I shouldn't think that she has stopped loving me. I hope most men agree or women agree with what I'm trying to say. People who are like genuinely married maybe will answer that question a little more. You all look like as if everyone's involved in something like that. Anyway, so I think there is, within the context of love, this whole attitude of looking at things, whether it's right or wrong, and hating certain things that the other one does. And within the context of relationships, it's very important. And I think Jesus and God himself saw that. He loved us so much that he hated the sin in us so much that he sent his son to die for us. It is not because he hated us that he sent his son. Because he loved us, despite us being sinners, he sent his son. So it's very important for us to understand that. And even, for instance, let's take another example, maybe a cancer patient. If a patient is suffering with cancer, I don't begin to hate the patient itself. I may begin to hate the cancer in the patient. And so I do something to get rid of the cancer, but I don't start hating the patient. The doctor doesn't go and start hitting the patient up because she has cancer or because he or she has cancer. He does something to get rid of the cancer. So I think it's something like that. And above all of this, we are asked to love. And I think that's very clear in Christianity.
Actually, I've written an article, just sent it yesterday for Light of Life. The title of the article is a little provocative. I've written the title as God Loves the Homosexual. Do you believe that? I think I want to pick up from where Bobby stopped, We tend to pick up some sins as though they are worse than the others. Now, it is true that homosexuality as a practice is abominable before God. But so also is cheating, so also is lying, so also is murder, so also is lust, and the list can go on and on. We tend to have our special lists for which we ourselves are clean. You can take me to a bar at any time and I will not be tempted because alcohol has no affinity to me. And I can keep talking about how alcohol is so evil. But have we realized that there are other areas? Put me behind the wheel of a car and ask me to drive in Delhi. And you will see something about my real character, where my weakness really is. I'm just waiting to snap at that driver on the left, the other one who cut me on the right, and you can see all my weaknesses coming out. And I will not talk about anger. I'll not put it in that list over there. So we need to be very careful to make sure, as Bobby says, our love shows the reality of the fact that God loves us, but he wants us to be transformed where we are. So it is not that Christians are uptight about homosexuality alone. We need to be uptight about cheating, we need to be uptight about murder, we need to be uptight about anger, we need to be uptight about lust, we need to be uptight about so many other things. And once people see that we are being fair where we are, and seeing ourselves as people who are sinners, saved purely by grace, I think the homosexual will understand God also loves the homosexual, though he does not like the practice of homosexuality.